Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going to be diving deep into the world of AI.
Oh, yeah.
And trust me,
This is a good one.
you are not going to want to miss this.
Yeah.
We are talking about a new vision language model
Okay.
called LLaVa-o1,
LLaVa-o1.
and it's designed to reason systematically step by step,
Mm.
almost like how you and I would think through a problem.
It is really fascinating stuff.
Really?
We're moving beyond AI that just reacts to information.
Okay.
LLaVa-o1 can analyze a visual problem, think logically, and give you a well-reasoned answer.
So, okay, we're going off of excerpts from the research paper.
Yes.
LLaVa-o1. Let vision language models reason step by step.
That's the one.
And you're telling me this thing can think like we do.
Well,
I'm a little skeptical.
Think about existing vision language models.
Yep.
Those VLMs we always hear about.
Yeah.
They're not that great at complex tasks
Okay.
that need multi-step reasoning.
Like what?
Like what?
Yeah, give me an example.
Imagine asking a VLM a question
Okay.
based on a picture of 5 red apples and saying, if you take away 3, how many are left?
Yeah.
Older models might get it wrong
Really?
because they don't think in a structured way. They might jump to a conclusion
Okay.
or even hallucinate an answer.
Hold on, hallucinate?
Yeah,
You mean make stuff up?
exactly. It's
Got
kind
it.
of funny,
Yeah.
but also a little unsettling.
Yeah.
They basically invent information that's not really there, and that's one of the big issues LLaVa-o1 is trying to solve.
Okay, so I'm starting to see the problem.
Yeah.
But how does this new model actually fix it?
Okay.
Walk me through it.
LLaVa-o1 uses a special 4-stage reasoning process.
Okay.
First, it summarizes the problem and what it needs to do.
Yeah.
It's kind of like saying, okay, this is what I need to figure out. If there's an image involved,
Yeah.
it then describes the important visual details.
Okay.
Like, here's what I see.
Got it. So it's laying out all the evidence.
Exactly.
Before jumping to conclusions.
Exactly. And then comes the really cool part.
Yeah.
The reasoning stage.
Okay.
LLaVa-o1 goes through a logical step-by-step analysis, just like solving a puzzle. And finally, it gives you a clear answer
Okay.
based on that reasoning.
I see how that's more human-like than just spitting out a random answer.
Right.
But how did the researchers teach LLaVa-o1 to do all that?
They created a special data set
Oh.
called LLaVa-o100K,
Okay.
and it combines visual question-answering examples from all sorts of sources.
Uh-huh.
The key here
Yeah.
is that it includes these structured reasoning annotations.
What is that?
It's like giving the AI a detailed roadmap of how to think correctly
Okay.
for each problem.
So instead of just showing it the problem and the answer,
Yeah,
they showed it how to get to the answer step by step.
precisely.
Okay.
And to ensure that roadmap was top-notch,
Uh-huh.
they used GPT-4o
Good,
to
yeah.
generate these detailed reasoning processes. So you have one powerful AI system teaching another one how to think more effectively.
That's wild. Let's talk about that Apple example again.
Okay.
But this time, let's walk through how LLaVa-o1 would solve it using its fancy 4-stage process.
Okay.
Imagine your LLaVa-o1,
Okay.
you see 5 apples, and the instruction, if you take away 3, how many are left?
Oh, God.
What's the first thing you do?
First, I'd summarize,
Well,
saying, okay, I need to figure out how many apples are left after taking some away.
Okay.
Then I'd move to the caption stage
Uh-huh.
and describe what I see.
Yeah.
There are 5 red apples.
Okay. So
Yeah.
far, so good.
Okay.
What happens next?
Now comes the reasoning.
Okay.
If I start with 5 apple
Yeah.
and take away 3,
Uh-huh.
I'm left with 2 apple.
Yeah.
And finally, the conclusion.
Okay.
There are 2 apples left.
Wow, that's really cool.
Right.
It's like the AI is thinking out loud,
Huh.
making sure it doesn't miss any steps.
Yep.
But how does this compare to the older models?
Let's look at the base model LLaVa-o1 was built on.
Okay.
Llama 3.211b Vision Instruct.
Okay.
It actually messes this up.
Oh, well.
It might miscount the apples
Uh-huh.
or apply the instructions incorrectly,
Yeah.
leading to the wrong answer.
So LLaVa-o1's structured approach makes a real difference.
It's a game changer.
Okay.
Think of it this way.
Yeah.
It's like the difference between randomly guessing at an answer
Uh-huh.
and carefully working through a math problem.
Yeah.
One leads to much more reliable results.
So it's not just about being smart.
Right.
It's about being smart in a structured way.
Exactly.
Love it.
And that brings us to another layer of LLaVa-o1's brilliance,
Okay.
stage-level beam search.
Stage level beam search.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. Is this some kind of AI strategy session?
It's like giving the model a strategy for self-correction.
Okay.
Remember those 4 stages?
Yeah.
Summary, caption, reasoning, conclusion.
Yeah.
At each stage, LLaVa-o1 generates multiple possible results. It then picks the best one to move on to the next stage.
So it's double-checking its work at every step.
Uh-huh.
Is this the best summary? Is this the most accurate description? Does this reasoning make sense?
That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
And this approach has two big advantages.
Okay.
It improves accuracy and makes the model more scalable.
So it can tackle tougher problems.
LLaVa-o1 can tackle even more complex tasks
Ah.
with greater reliability.
Okay, so we've seen how LLaVa-o1 tackles a problem step by step
Yeah.
and how it double-checks its work along the way.
Uh-huh.
But does this actually make it better than other models?
Yeah.
What were the results like?
The results are seriously impressive.
Okay.
LLaVa-o1 consistently outperforms its base model,
Okay.
and sometimes by a huge margin.
Wow.
We'll dive deeper into those comparisons in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay.
But trust me,
Yeah.
it's exciting stuff.
Okay, I'm ready for part 2.
And remember, it achieved those results with only 100,000 training samples? Yeah.
That's pretty small.
Yeah, that's
Compared to the massive data set
pretty small, yeah.
some other AI models use.
That's amazing. It's like it learned to be a super efficient thinker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And here's another key insight from the research.
Yeah.
LLaVa-o1 showed the most improvement
Okay.
in tasks that really require complex reasoning.
You mean things like logic puzzles,
Precisely.
math problems, that sort of thing?
Areas like instance reasoning,
Okay.
logical reasoning, math, science, and technology. This suggests that structured reasoning isn't just a gimmick. It's actually boosting the model's cognitive abilities.
So this isn't just AI that can parrot back information.
Yeah.
This is AI that can genuinely think for itself.
That's the exciting part. And it gets even better.
Okay.
LLaVa-o1 was tested
Okay.
against some of the top VLMs out there.
Oh, you mean those big names?
Yeah.
Like Gemini 1.5 Pro,
Uh-huh.
GPT-4 Mini, even some of the larger Llama models?
It is.
That's a tough crowd.
But LLaVa-o1 held its own.
Even surpassing some of those giants
Wow.
in tasks that require complex reasoning.
It's like that classic underdog story.
I love that analogy.
A smaller, more nimble model outsmarting the heavyweights.
It really shows that an AI size isn't everything.
Right.
It's the approach, the method that makes a real difference.
Yeah.
And the structured step-by-step reasoning seems to be a winning formula.
So where do we go from here? What's next for LLaVa-o1? And for this whole idea of structured reasoning in AI?
The researchers have some really interesting ideas.
Okay.
They want to explore using external verifiers.
External verifiers, what does that even mean?
Imagine another AI system acting as a fact checker for LLaVa-o1.
So another AI double-checking its work.
It could cross-reference information, spot potential biases, and make sure the conclusions are solid.
So like a peer review system for AI. That's brilliant.
It is. And they're also looking at using reinforcement learning to further refine
Reinforcement learning.
LLaVa-o1's reasoning skills.
That's where the AI learns through trial and error, right?
Exactly.
It's rewarded for correct answers and penalized for mistakes.
Exactly. This could help LLaVa-o1 become even better at handling complex tasks, navigating ambiguity, and adapting to new situations.
It sounds like we're just scratching the surface
Absolutely.
of what structured reasoning can do for AI.
But it's important to remember that this is still early days. There's so much more to explore and understand.
I have to say, as we're diving deep into LLaVa-o1, it's making me think about some bigger questions.
Like what?
If we can teach AI to think logically, to follow a structured reasoning process, does that mean we're also teaching it to be creative?
That's a fascinating question. It really blurs the lines between logic and creativity. Between human intelligence and artificial intelligence.
I mean, could an AI that thinks like LLaVa-o1 someday compose a symphony, write a novel, or even make a scientific discovery that we haven't even thought of yet?
Now that's a thought-provoking idea. It really makes you wonder what the future holds for AI.
You know, it's funny. We started this deep dive by talking about how LLaVa-o1 can solve a simple math problem with apples. But now we're talking about the potential for AI to create art, make scientific breakthroughs, and maybe even redefine what it means to think.
It's incredible how quickly these conversations can evolve.
Yeah.
When we start exploring these cutting-edge advancements in AI, it's a reminder that we're not just dealing with lines of code, but with systems that have the potential to fundamentally reshape our world.
I totally agree. It's why we do these deep dives, to uncover these incredible developments and explore what they mean for all of us.
And speaking of exploring, there's one more fascinating aspect of LLaVa-o1 that I think is worth diving into.
Okay, lead the way. What else is there to discover about LLaVa-o1?
Well, so far we've focused on what the research tells us about LLaVa-o1 itself.
Right.
But there's another layer here that's really intriguing to me.
Okay.
How the researchers frame the entire problem and the solution they're presenting.
Okay.
It speaks volumes about the future of AI development.
I'm listening. What do you mean?
The authors of the LLaVa-o1 paper are very deliberate in their language.
Okay.
They repeatedly emphasize that one of the biggest issues with existing VLMs is their lack of systematic and structured reasoning. Those two words together are key.
So it's not just about reasoning in a general sense.
Right.
But about the way that reasoning is organized and executed.
Exactly.
Like having a plan and sticking to it.
Exactly. They argue that a lot of VLMs jump into generating responses without a clear plan.
Yeah.
And that leads to errors, those hallucinations we talked about earlier.
Right. It's like trying to write a big research paper without an outline. You might have some good ideas, but the whole thing is going to be a mess.
That's a perfect analogy, and LLaVa-o1 tackles this by imposing that structure.
Okay.
Forcing the model to think through the problem step by step.
It's like teaching the AI to be more disciplined in its thinking.
Precisely.
Okay.
And I think this focus on structure reflects a bigger trend in AI research as a whole.
What's that?
It's a shift away from just building bigger and bigger models.
Okay.
And toward a deeper understanding of how AI actually learns and reasons.
So it's not just about brute force computing power anymore.
Right.
It's about being smarter about how we design these AI systems.
That's it. It's about elegance and efficiency.
Okay.
And that's where the real promise of LLaVa-o1 and structured reasoning lies.
Yeah.
It opens up the possibility of creating AI systems that are powerful, but also more transparent and explainable.
And therefore more trustworthy.
Exactly.
Because we can understand the steps they're taking, the logic they're using.
Right.
It's not a black box anymore.
Exactly. And that transparency is going to be crucial.
Okay.
As we start using AI in more and more aspects of our lives.
Yeah.
Healthcare finance, maybe even legal decisions. We need to be able to understand how these AI systems are making decisions.
Yeah.
Not just blindly trust them.
This has been an incredible deep dive.
It has.
We've gone from the nitty-gritty details of LLaVa-o1's design to the broader implications of structured reasoning.
Right.
And what it could mean for the future of AI.
It's been a fascinating journey, and I think the big takeaway for our listeners is this.
What's that?
We're at a turning point in AI development.
Okay.
Structured thinking and transparency are becoming just as important as raw processing power.
It feels like this shift is going to lead to some truly incredible breakthroughs in the years to come.
I think so too.
To all our listeners out there, stay curious.
Yeah.
And get ready for a future where AI helps us understand the world in ways we never thought possible. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.